Welcome to another Minneapolis by Night. This is a crossover scene involving Vittorio Giovanni, a mage, as well as Marcella Giovanni, a vampire. Uh, I have a feeling it will involve a number of Giovanni, so it will be somewhat of a family affair.
It sure will.
So Vittorio, of course, will, as a gentleman, will wait to call you till after 7:30, give you time to take care of your own business when you first wake up for the evening. Um,
Oh,
but he,
excellent.
but he'll give you a call. Um, just Marcella, where are you?
I mean,
Sir, are you available that we can chat? I have some things like additional projects I think you could assist me with.
I'm at Julian's at present. Be here for a while.
Good. And how is Julian?
As far as I know, fine. I haven't seen him yet tonight.
Well, I'll have to. I have some additional matters to chat with him. I'm sure. So can't hurt. Maybe perhaps I'll bring a project with. See what he thinks of my work. How is Zeta treating you?
Oh, she's good. She's hanging out.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, if you have it, perhaps if you see him, warn him that I'll be stopping over.
I will do that. I have to go speak to him myself, so maybe I'll do that now.
All right, so he'll start heading over. He has to load some things up into a hearse first. So
Uh, yeah, and Marcella's gonna go find Julian. The first place she's gonna check is his office.
Hey, look, you find them.
Hey,
Still looking at paperwork going, oh, really, nothing.
please
That's all
don't.
I what can I do for you?
Vittoria wanted me to pass along that he's stopping over.
Okay.
So
Isn't
you're
that
over
that,
there.
what is it, that mage family member?
Yes.
Hmm.
I assume he would also know that Vittorio's also a revenant,
Yep.
Yeah, just called you a mage.
right?
He's a dick.
Not that big of a dick.
I'm
Jesus,
just
that's a
kidding. I don't think I really don't think he's a dick. Um,
That's like all he's done for fucking Marcella. She better be fucking grateful.
no. I really don't think he's a dick. She. Uh,
Okay, sure, I'll let the guards at the gate know.
and in regards to that meeting you were asking for,
Yes.
uh, Dante says whenever you are able, he will make himself available.
Smart man. You did inform him not to come to the place armed, right?
I did.
Okay. Just, I have to ask.
I made it very clear that he was not
Good.
to come armed.
Okay. No, well, okay. Well, I'll be here when Vittorio gets here.
Alright.
He's in pick up this man. Gate. We have a Vittorio Giovanni coming. He has allowed access. Yes. Put your phone down. Alright. I'll expect him. Anything else you need, Marcella?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm gonna go now. Yeah. She just has this awkward look on her face. I'm just gonna go now. Yeah.
Okay. Casually, he looks very
Uh,
confused, but
Vittorio will pull in, and he's going to back his hearse right up to a garage door, loading dock, whatever, depending on how big this house slash compound actually is.
it's pretty big.
So
They don't have a living
some sort of,
compound. They have a really big garage.
yeah. So he backs up to one of the doors.
Okay.
And he'll
One of the
he'll
guards
come
opens
up
it
to
for
the
you.
front door. Okay, he opens the garage door.
One of the guards does, yeah.
Okay, then he'll
We heard you were coming.
back in and have him close the door because there's some things that shouldn't be publicly viewed.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. They close the door.
He says he has to speak with Julian, but he'd also like to see his cousin Marcella too, if she's available.
You see the guard thing for a second. Anybody have a location on Marcella?
Oh, she
Yeah,
totally.
I'm standing right here, right next to her. Guard just looking at you.
What?
Oh, where the fuck are you? Current Central Hall. Oh, okay. Marcella be in the Central Hall. You'll meet her as soon as you come out of this little area. And the Don is probably sitting in his office, fuming over paperwork again.
So Vittorio will head first to the Central Hall, obviously. That's where he was told he could find Marcella.
Yep.
Greet her quite cheerfully.
You seem to be in a good mood today.
Well, I've been able to compound on my work with Zeta. Something I may require your assistance to finalize, but it's between the parts I received and my experience working with her, I think this one will do quite nicely.
Okay.
So I brought that one with as an example. If you'd like to see it before I go see Julian,
All right.
might be enjoyable to bring it with.
Okay. Yeah.
So he'll lead you out to the garage.
She'll follow.
And he opens the trunk of his or the back end of the hearse, and this thing unfolds.
Ooh,
Oh my.
And climbs out.
pretty.
And he pats it with an open hand on the neck, like it's an oversized dog, despite the fact that it barely fit in the back of the hearse.
Does it have a name?
Well, I thought perhaps you might like to name it. However,
You hear a young voice, call it Rover.
I have encountered discovered that my creations this size require more vitae than I possess as a revenant. And once they're fed it, I could bind it within them that they'll function as a revenant themselves, but mine isn't enough to serve as a model for that. So, if you have some to spare, and he'll kind of lean in real close and he'll whisper right in her ear, and he'll say, "This could be the first of our children to bring glory to you."
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Mom, he's got your eyes.
You would probably recognize some of the pieces here.
Oh, are they some that I acquired for you?
Yeah, obviously they've been distorted because he built a whole new skeletal structure, but
Yep.
The kid just kind of walks by it, looking. She's going to my car to get something. And I don't get used to shit in this house ever. He just walks by and goes to his car.
Yeah, nice to see you too.
Wow.
Oh.
See him pull something out. He shoots a thing of flowers.
I wonder where those are going.
I was going to feed him to your pet here. Kidding.
Something tells me he doesn't eat flowers.
Something tells me he better stick to a strict diet. He just looks at it kind of awkwardly, walking around it. Going behind his mother as
Right.
he's walking by. Just in case.
Vittorio tells you that part of this too was modeled on the creature that you guys fought. And that's when he says that the creature has vampiric things that kind of extend. He says, "Well, not a true kindred. It does have many of the advantages, but I need fuel for it."
All right. So fuel, by fuel I'm assuming blood.
Correct.
How much do you need?
Oh, I imagine creation this size. This is my largest one, but this one would probably 2 or 3 points should be sufficient. Provided I have space to work my arts, I'll bind it within it so it produces its own in the future.
We do have places within the compound that you could work your arts, Mr. Vittorio.
Excellent. Well, and perhaps we should start by meeting with the Don and let him know I'm going to need some space.
You hear a deep male voice.
Okay, so he's behind me?
Mm-hmm. Just came in the garage door because Lorenzo was like, "You gotta see this."
He turns.
I see Vittorio here brought you a pet.
Yes.
And Vittorio kind of sneers at that a little bit.
Name it. Oh boy. Yep. Perception, empathy. Nope.
It's definitely different. Are those fangs coming out of its mouth? Never mind, I don't even want to know.
Vittorio kind of gently pet it and the fangs retract in.
Yep, those were fangs.
They most certainly were.
Okay. I gotta ask, just out of morbid curiosity. What exactly do you plan on doing with something like that? You can't exactly have it guard a house.
And he chuckles at that and he says, "Why not?"
Well, aside from the whole obvious breach of supernatural powers here.
He clicks his tongue a couple times and it kind of fades that it's almost invisible.
Oh, now that's cool.
That is.
Okay, never mind then.
He says, "I've had him prowling through my cemetery for the last couple nights, but I was actually hoping to stumble upon some kindred foolish enough to come looking for some spare parts, but I have been unsuccessful."
Most
So,
those who would look for spare parts are of the family, and we've made it very clear without permission no one is to go there.
Well, we all know there are always outsiders that get greedy.
He nods.
But I thought being the largest church or largest cemetery in the city, it might be too appealing for them to pass up, but apparently I was wrong. I understand, Julian, that you're the one I should speak with regarding the family masses, whether they're held at the compound here. Do you currently have a father to preside over them?
No. Ruben's watching.
I am educated in the various ceremonies, including the Black Mass itself. So should you have need of those rites, I can perform them.
That sounds fine with me. I have no issues with that.
And of course, the benefits of my other works are fairly obvious.
Yeah, a little bit. She's just looking right at the thing.
Should you need more subtle servitors, you're welcome to call on me for those as well.
You know, I actually kind of like that one. Maybe it's just my morbidness, but I think it's kind of unique.
Well, I'm working on a number of projects, and this was the next step in my eventual goal.
And what's that?
He gestures to himself and he says, "Well, think if we could establish a line of revenants that was directly descended from a kindred, and he'll gesture to Marcella at that. He'll say sort of a living kindred, if you will. One that doesn't need to feed because they generate the blood themselves.
He closes
One
the
that
door.
one that can work true magics, but also one that has all the strengths of being more than a simple revenant family.
You do realize that the rest of the family found out about your little pet project here and its thought process. I can't stop them from coming to get you.
And which process is that?
Whatever you use to create it.
He says, well, that's necromancy. They all understand the benefits of my necromancy versus yours.
From what you just told me, your little goal alone would be enough to bring them here.
The family doesn't desire some diversity in their revenant lines? I'm not proposing we go outside the family.
How well do you know this family? It'd be one thing if they were human, like you said. It's another thing for that. He points to the creature.
Oh, I certainly the revenant line would be of a human form.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense.
He gestures and he says, "These are merely
toys.
The toys and pets. Every child should have a pet." And
unfortunately, you can't take that one to the dog park.
Well,
yeah, that might upset the others' pets.
A little bit.
I have others for that. But the important part is that there are other lineages, so-called clans, that have similar creations. Mine are simply better.
I think the Tremere would argue with you on that one.
Put the Tremers in the front lawn and see how long before someone notices.
Matter of fact, I've passed by the Tremere Chantry. There is one in the front lawn. It's just only at nighttime. It smiles. Yeah, it has its disadvantages. Revenants would make a much more useful tool during the daytime.
And if we had a line of revenants that also were more likely to awaken and be able to work arts such as my own, we'd have additional advantages there.
True.
For all the potency of your necromancy, mine allows me to create permanent creations, truly undying beings.
He smiles. I have no issues with it. I just trying to tell you what the rest of the family might see about that.
Well,
it is picky about that. You know how picky they can be.
Hence why I'm discussing with you. I would require, of course, Marcella's consent as well, and her assistance in my project. But having a patron among the family would help my case. They've let me run my works thus far, but having a kindred patron would support my case further.
Well, to be quite honest, I think Marcello has kind of kept most of your secrets hidden enough.
Well, most of the family knows where to come when they need someone to sweep the floors, as it were.
He smiles. That is true, but again, we need to be careful who we let out with certain information.
Well, that's
you know how infighting happens in the family.
That's also why this project wasn't discussed much when her brother was around.
Smart move.
I suspect he wouldn't be a fan of some of the works I need.
Yeah. I'll support it.
The next step, of course, in this process would be that I may require her presence for extended periods of time. And I understand a particular house in the area has recently gone up for sale. I'll look at Marcella and smirk a little bit. I thought it might be beneficial if she thus stayed with me. That gives me the access I need, and it keeps her under some family connection.
Because I have a feeling that the other meeting I'm supposed to have later on is also going to ask me the exact same favor.
Well, I wasn't aware we had more family in the city. I'm surprised they haven't approached me yet.
We don't.
Ah.
He looks at Marcella.
Well, then it seems I have an advantage in my request.
Down.
Not. Although she has the advantage overall. Looks at her again. Haven't told him, have you?
No.
What else haven't you told him? Let me guess, he doesn't know who the kid is either.
He knows who Lorenzo is.
Okay, well, that's at least good.
Well, of course, that's why it's additionally beneficial I have a very large house.
And he's met Dante at my place before.
How much does he know about Dante?
Oh, the cardinal, you mean?
Yes.
I use that term loosely.
Yeah, interesting fellow.
He is. She's wearing a very awkward expression right about now.
If you didn't notice the absolute drool coming out of Marcella's mouth, there's a reason for that, especially when his name is mentioned. He just smiles.
Well, he was a bit careless in what he showed when he first met me. Not a good way to continue holding such a high rank.
Yeah, well, somehow he's managed to keep it under wraps.
He has, but he's got a significant level of arrogance, and
Agreed.
I suspect it's one that
So,
the head of
Julian's
my
looking
order
straight at you,
takes.
Marcella, as he keeps talking.
I'm
Guess
sorry.
what? I
What?
said he's looking straight at you as Vittorio keeps talking. Guess what? Ouch.
Oh God.
Guess what he's using?
I don't want to know.
Perception empathy.
Well, what's he looking for?
Mainly because Vittorio's not painting your blood-bound bitch in a very good light.
Oh, well,
But he wants to see how hardcore that, he wants to confirm more specifically what he already believes.
It's a full bond.
Yeah, that's what he figured, but he's just using perception empathy to see how much it's affecting you right now.
Well, it's a full bond. How do you think it is? That's why she's
Okay.
like, oh,
Gotcha.
shit.
Gotcha. He just kind of smiles to himself, nods. Yeah, he can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Just kind of gives him
You made a show of faith, and he kind of says that with a little bit of an emphasis. But if he intended to impress me, he obviously has not met the head of my order. Isn't that correct, Marcella?
Correct.
What's wrong, Marcella? Looks like we just ran over your dog.
Vittorio kind of looked back at his face.
She really, really wants to open her mouth and say something, but she knows that it's in her best interest to just shut the fuck up.
Because you can tell Julian... I know, I'm saying. And Ruben's like,
Jeez, go from quad botch to that roll? Yes, Ruben. That's the weird thing. When it matters, I suck ass. When it doesn't, not so much.
Anyway.
Sandwiches is watching, by the way.
Oh.
He's already commented he wants one of those pets.
Well, get to know Vittorio would be a good start, but
like I said, Vittoria, you have my backing. We are going to have to handle this with the rest of the family with kid gloves for right now.
well,
As for her being relocated, I'm not so big on that idea. Her house was already breached once. No such attempts will be made here.
Vittorio kind of chuckles at that. He says, "I imagine not, but I assure you, they won't be visiting me unwelcome."
Well, I can only imagine with things like that roaming around. Probably would not be in whoever's best interest to return.
He says, "Oh, I don't think they'd be leaving in the first place." Furthermore, he says, "I tend to spend a number of jaunts in the other side as well, and the wraiths of the graveyard are rather amiable to me. That happens when you can ease their torment."
Well, I seriously doubt that her son is going to want to hang out near a graveyard.
Well, I have a house on the edge of it.
Ah,
I have a mansion that's intended for the priest and groundskeeper and such, of which I fill the role of all of. It's amazing what you can get done when you have an ill gesture and say extra hands.
well,
It's
the one
a
problem is I don't know if you've actually fully had a conversation with Lorenzo.
with
But-
Lorenzo. No, I haven't met him personally yet. Just been aware that he's in the city as well.
Oh, he was the
you
kid
just saw
that
him a
was
short
the-
time ago.
Yeah, he was the one
Yeah,
that
but I didn't really meet him. He just walked through.
Yeah. Well, he's still mortal by all standards. He hasn't been promoted yet.
I see.
And I doubt his current girlfriend would react well to
that.
other things. They don't know much about us. We keep those things carefully.
Well,
We have some very powerful ties back in Italy. We don't want knowing we exist in the wrong ways.
Well, so it seems to me that staying with a priest who is sheltering a woman and her son after a fairly violent attack on her home seems even less auspicious than staying in a mafia-controlled house. And of course, the church certainly knows how to finance security. More than they even know. But that's at your discretion. As I say, either way, I will require her for at least a couple of nights on end to accomplish my project, next phase of my project. And at that point, she may need to be somewhat in my care for a period of time.
Well, I can tell you for a fact Lorenzo is staying here, mainly because we can protect him and his current girlfriend. If Marcella wishes to take residence up with you, that's her choice. I would make some stipulations and probably suggest letting me add a few nonchalant individuals to help keep watch.
Well, I mean, as long as they can blend in, it's a graveyard, so suits always are appropriate.
Well, I have a few that could probably blend in doing even what looks like yard work if it's necessary. I've learned very few people ever seem to notice the gardener.
Well, yes and no. I mean, until his arm falls off.
Well, yeah, then there's a problem. But I don't think my men would have their arms falling off unless, well, something happened.
Well, that's a benefit to know then.
Yeah, probably be much nicer to have them around with him.
Yeah, I tend to have some of my work done at night.
As I said, I will leave that in Marcella's decision. Lorenzo will not be going. He looks right at you, Marcella. And that I decree, period. No one will change my mind on that issue.
Do you have intention to promote Lorenzo in the near future, or would it be possible for him to study some of the other ways under me? Perhaps help ease his transition as well, as it were.
I'm not too eager to promote him at all. I'm not too eager for anyone to promote him.
I'm merely offering him a higher education.
No, I'm sure he would accept that, but tell you what, I'll have a conversation with Lorenzo and see what he says.
That would be excellent. I didn't spend 25 years studying at the Vatican College to seminary for nothing.
No, I doubt he wants to become a priest, but
I didn't suggest that.
he just smiles. Well, I didn't think so. From what I know, he and his girlfriend are doing, believe me, he already violated one tenant.
Well, is a rule broken? Tell me, Julian, is a rule broken? And he gestures to the creature if no one sees it.
That's true. Julian just looked at her, Marcella. What? You didn't think he was pure, did you?
I didn't think so, but I didn't really need to know about it either.
Hey,
No,
you know when you're at work. Just smiles.
I'd be disappointed if he was.
As I said, I'll have a conversation with Lorenzo and see what he says. But I must absolutely stress this to both of you. There are no plans for him to be promoted anytime soon. Anyone who violates that, I will personally seek and destroy.
Vittorio kind of scratches.
Very clear.
Vittorio kind of scratches his head a little bit, and he goes, "Do I look like a fucking Tremere to you?"
I just have to be very specific when it comes to this one. I'm under orders by someone else. He just looks at Marcella.
Marcella just nods at Julian.
And I'm pretty sure his mother would appreciate, him having a choice instead of it being made for him.
Yes.
Well, again, whether she moves in or not, I may require her company for a couple of evenings.
And that's between you two. If you guys want to, if you guys want to, that's up to you. As I said, I don't mind Lorenzo going over, visiting and learning from you, Vittorio. I have no issues with that at all. I personally think it will help him as an individual grow in more ways than probably he realizes right now. I just want to make sure that he is given the choice rather than told what he's going to do.
Yes, that's generally considered prudent.
So I'll have a conversation with him. I don't think he'll mind. He's very eager to learn new things. He's been going through my library at a pace that is ridiculous. The good news for you, Vittorio, is he has an eidetic memory. He'll remember it all. So
Well, that will speed the process significantly.
Quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You can now you kind of understand why he is of such interest to the rest of the family. Can you imagine what he can learn in such a short time that it takes many of us a while to learn?
He does learn quickly. Very,
Mm.
very quickly.
But I would definitely have a conversation with him. Is there anything else you need to speak to me about before?
No, I think that was it. Everything else I needed was will be Marcella's problem. It sounds like.
Yes, ma'am. Then I will leave you to it. I just had to come see what Lorenzo kept talking about. Quite an interesting being you have there.
Right.
Enjoy, Marcella. Now Lorenzo's upstairs.
Yes.
Upstairs. That's what he says.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pleased to finally meet you, Vittorio. Anytime you need anything, please don't hesitate to get a hold of me. If you don't have my number, Marcella can give it to you. Ensure that he gets it, Marcella. He looks at you. Other than that, good evening. He opens the door, walks back in. Closes the door behind him.
Well.
Oh, that was a interesting conversation.
Yeah, he happens to have a lot of those. She just kind of smiles faintly.
Yeah, I gathered he seems to have a different mindset.
Yes and no.
Well, I suppose a family member's always a family member to some degree, correct?
Correct, correct.
So. Well, I think he made it quite pretty clear where he stood on certain matters,
Yes, he did.
which puts the ball in your court quite a bit.
He also did say he'd support you.
Well, Lorenzo is here, and I don't know how long he's going to be here. And if Julian won't let me take him, I don't know.
Well, again, it doesn't have to be permanent, but I would prefer your company for a few nights to pursue this project. But again, that assumes you're interested as well. I realize you have a son already, but being the founder of a line is something to be said for as well, and those would be children that he kind of leans in a little closer to make sure no one else, not even goons or bugs, would over him. He says children that no one else could dictate their path for.
Oh. She's sitting. She's like, I don't know. You could roll a perception empathy if you really wanted to. She-
6, 8, and 10. So 3 successes, assuming standard difficulty.
Yeah, she kind of looks like she's stuck between a rock and a hard place, courtesy of that full blood bond. It's literally like stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, Julian said this, but have to roll with that full blood bond. It sucks, but that's how it is.
Well, that didn't mean you couldn't come with him.
Right? Yeah, she
So
can go with you. Yep.
the question is, do you want to be part of his project?
Her full blood bond would probably be telling her nope.
No?
Yeah, it's a blood bond. I mean, a shit.
Well, I don't know how that dictates whether you can have
A
relations
full.
with other.
Well, basically makes her, Dante's bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really basically how it breaks down in the best term possible.
Yeah, I just unless
She's pretty much not
don't do
capable
that.
of. She's pretty much only capable of thinking what he wants.
He's the most
Basically.
important person in her life. Lovers, relatives, and even children become secondary to her all-consuming passion.
So the
At this
question
level-
is, does he have a particular objection to it? And if not, then she probably wouldn't care.
I'm guessing he probably does, but I don't. On the
Well,
out of character.
What would Marcella think? Would she care if he has, if she were involved in the creation of a revenant lion?
Considering I know things, he probably would not be too thrilled about that. Just because of what he is.
See, Vittorio just doesn't know what he is. He's a vampire of some sort who's a Catholic.
Yeah. She kind of pretty much just found out that he is something she shouldn't even really be hanging out with. But again, that blood bond kind of, it doesn't matter.
So does Vittorio know she's bloodbound at this point?
Julian said something
He quite
blatantly.
said it repeatedly without saying that she's actually fully bombed. But no, he didn't come right directly out and say it. No, but he kind of hinted in the most generic term a Giovanni will hint at without being openly blatant about it. Because he figured if you didn't know, then it was not his place to say. But he was damn sure going to give enough hints that, hoping you could figure it out on your own. I mean, if you want to roll an intelligence check to think, as you're thinking back about what the conversation you had with Julian, you could probably pick up on it.
Yeah, we'll do that.
I mean, I probably should have had to roll at the time, but I didn't think about it till just now.
No, he figures there's some sort of connection, but he probably hasn't put two and two together yet.
Yeah, because you were more focused on worrying about whether Julian would accept and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So at this point, he hasn't added it all the way up.
Right?
No successes, you will then. There'd be no question in your mind what Julian was hinting at the entire time.
Well, I mean, considering she was like more than happy to hang out with him like only a matter of days ago.
Yeah. Well, and that's if she's going to continue to be reluctant, that's going to puzzle him. So he's probably going to think about it more.
That would definitely help make a real good hint too.
Yeah.
The fact that she's being so reluctant.
And how, yeah. And considering
2 successes.
That's enough to piece it together.
Okay.
You'd finally figure out that what Julian was ever so subtly hinting about was that she is fully bloodbound. Now, the most you'd figure out is that he believes she's fully bloodbound, but she's at least made indication that she's bound to a higher degree than normal. So she's not just as, because you guys wouldn't know dots, it's not like, oh, I have a 2-point blood bond. It would just be, oh,
right.
The blood bond is slight, and then it's a little more, and then it's, holy fuck, you're screwed.
she said, "Holy fuck, you're screwed."
Yeah, she said, holy fuck, you're screwed.
He'll lean in and ask if there's something that he can help with. That she seems nervous about something. My ways are not the ways of the rest of the family. I have tools that others cannot imagine.
Okay. I. I mean, she's not gonna tell you. Yeah, help me with the blood bond. That's not how it.
No,
Yeah.
he's more.
Yeah.
You couldn't even say it if you wanted to.
I couldn't say it if I wanted to. Nope.
No, it's one of those. Unfortunately, you're kind of stuck because there's really not much you can say to tell them what's going on.
Right.
I mean, I don't see it as a direct violation because from what I read, it really doesn't say you can't, but it hints at the fact that basically your entire life is Dante, so you couldn't really.
You're not inclined to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not inclined to. Something would be like kicking you in, in the internal butt, going,
That's fine. That's where the Meiji part's coming.
Man, never turn me around when you need one.
What?
These creepy bastards are
Yeah.
ways to break my bones.
Oh. Yeah, Marcella is just kind of like, oh, fuck.
I mean, I would say with the way she's acting, it would help give Victoria a bit better idea of what might be going on. I mean, you can't confirm it because obviously she's not going to answer the question.
Right.
He's kind of figured it out. He just doesn't want to. He's like, well, I'm not going to do anything about it until she tells me she wants something done about it.
Right.
Which, obviously, Victoria doesn't understand blood bonds.
He does. That's why he's going to...
She can't tell him.
She couldn't even text him, write a letter, nothing. Like, anything that involves it would basically be like a no, you can't.
Yeah.
Because it would be going against what the bond is for. That's the whole catch. That's the catch-22 to the fucking bond. Even if somebody wants to break it, they can't.
Not easily. Willpower.
Nope.
Yeah, a lot of willpower, but even then, it's only temporary. You can only fight it for so long.
Yeah, well, you have to fight it pretty much. You have to fight pretty much indefinitely to be able to break it.
Yep.
Or go long, long time without having another sip.
Yeah, I think it's actually without contact, isn't it?
Yeah, you can go without contact and a sip.
I think it's more the sip because the sip helps keep the bond, but yeah, doing so requires the player to make a willpower roll. Difficulty is typically 8, though this can be modified depending on the regulament's treatment and the thrall's nature.
Yeah, and
which would be just about impossible. Can be broken, though this requires the thrall to not only avoid the regnant entirely for an extended period of time, but also spend great amounts of willpower to overcome the addiction. As a general rule, a thrall who neither sees nor feeds from a regnant for a period of 12 minus your willpower in months finds her bond reduced by 1 level.
Right.
So, yeah, you pretty much have to stay away.
Vittorio's going to cheat, though.
You can use other means, yeah. And that just says the generic way to normally break a bond. Although death of the person who created it would help.
He actually is going to suppress her emotions.
Nice.
And then he'll ask her what the problem seems to be.
I don't have a problem.
Well, you seem to have a particular reluctance lately.
Oh, shit.
And
Hold on.
Sure.
Okay.
You seem to have a particular reluctance. Julian, of course, mentioned the Padre, and I
Yes.
thought perhaps you had some trouble with him that you would like dealt with.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to repeat that. I had somebody talking to me on the outside of the headphones here.
Oh, somebody, huh?
Hi, Josh.
Shut up, Josh.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Yeah, you're just somebody, Josh.
The disruptor, the scene disruptor.
You will incur my wrath. Remember, I run things too.
We'll have to deal with Krampus again.
Right?
That's fine. I'll lock him in time. Here, have a Horizon Realm. By the way, you can't leave. So, Vittorio just said that you seemed reluctant and that Julian mentioned you were perhaps having some trouble with Padre and wonders if it's something that you required his assistance for.
I don't have any trouble with Dante. Dante never he wouldn't cause he would never intentionally cause me any trouble.
No, but you seem to have some particular hesitations lately, and that's not like you to fail to act. So. Well, you're the ST here, but I'm assuming being a blood bond is primarily emotional, that by dulling her emotions, it would suppress it to some degree.
It would. She'd still have a hard time admitting it because, I mean, it's not just emotional-wise. I mean, remember, she took a supernatural blood, so
Yeah.
it's that supernatural kick to it that makes it so tough to resist. I would say if she wanted to, right at this point,
You were here with him all day.
she might have to. I mean, probably. That's a tough one. Mainly because the blood bonds are so unique. They're such a fucking pain to deal with. That's why most people don't usually blood bond. You know, or blood bond to level 2 and keep it at that, because at least then they're just slightly infatuated and you can basically go away. 3 is like she has to be around them at all times, and like it said, it's almost an addiction. I mean, imagine being
It is.
addicted to a being. It's hard to, she basically eats, sleeps, and thinks about him all the time. Honestly, from what it said, she would turn on her own son if it meant protecting, the blood bond.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's fucked up. I mean, yeah, you can suppress the emotions, but she'd probably be able to hint that.
he's going to try and actually touch her subconscious.
That makes it easier.
He's going to just lean in. Well, he can, number one, he can just see what's currently kind of residing there. So he's going to try and sense her subconscious urges, what's going on here.
I don't know what it would look like in Mage's eyes, but
Oh yeah, like
basically what you see is a very, very, very strong attachment to Dante. She has a fleeting thought of her son, and that gets pushed out of the way by Dante.
That's going to probably tip him off pretty good.
No,
He knows how she
feels. Yeah, because she loves her son. So for that to happen, as a member of the Giovanni family, you'd put 2 and 2 together. There's no question what's going on. But that would explain why she's so hesitant.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to have him try and block the blood bond, but not the memory of it. And he has mind, prime, and spirit, so he's basically going to try and disconnect the subconscious connection from her conscious mind.
Well, that's a different way to do it. I've never thought of it.
And he had a success on it.
Okay.
So I don't know how. It probably didn't work well at first, but maybe it starts to. So the nice part about mages is they can extend magic.
Yeah, I was going to say, it will start. She'll still have fights and urges. I mean, if you're basically just trying to block her from being able to say anything, that will take some time, mainly due to the fact of the potency of the blood.
Well, what he's trying to do
Yeah.
is disconnect her from the blood bond enough that she remembers it, but it doesn't have a grip on her temporarily. So he's basically suspending it. Is what he's trying to do. And I have 3 more
Holly?
successes.
Yes.
Roll your willpower.
Okay, her
I'm gonna
willpower.
base it on that because right now your willpower is all for him, so it would be based off of that level.
You want
7.
to do it as opposed, or you want that to be the difficulty?
I just want to see what she's got. It might give me a better idea of how to do it because this is something that I don't think a lot of people have ever really thought about doing. You know.
No, I've
Trying
actually dug around in the past on this, and mages need mind, spirit, and prime to break a blood bond. So,
3
luckily,
successes. How many successes did you get, Joe?
his first one was only 1, but his second one he had 4 more, so he's had 5 successes total.
Okay.
So,
Well, the first one basically would have gotten your foot in the door, so to speak.
right.
Wouldn't have really blocked anything. The second one, unfortunately, technically it's almost kind of like combat in a way. It goes to the defenders, so
She had 3, I had 4.
yeah, you had 4, so you're actually now your foot's no longer in the door. Now, like basically your body's in there, and you're starting to creep in forward.
Right. I've got enough
Eventually, you'll get at the
leverage.
point where you get on the other side of the door, and you can basically close it off. It will only be temporary unless you can make it permanent. In that case, Dante's gonna know.
Which that he could do, but he's not going to do it unless she wants him to. He just wants her clear-headed enough to be able to ask. So,
I'm not going to have her do any more willpower rolls. Holly, you can clear your dice now.
Okay.
That was basically the main one, is what I wanted to see, if he could at least breach across a line. If you got more successes than he had that second round, I would have been like, yeah, you're still just got your foot in the door. But he's beating you out, so he's at least trying to do it.
we can keep going. I don't know how many you want to achieve. Typically, five successes would be considered probably appropriate for.
Yeah, I'll say you have. I'll say you have enough to at least block it temporarily. She doesn't forget the bond, but she has a more clear head, and now she can focus more. Her
Right.
thoughts aren't solely on what Dante wants and how much she wants to be with Dante. Blah 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 blah.
She's aware it exists, but she would not necessarily be bound by it.
Yeah, she's not as big.
Her actions aren't dictated by it.
Right.
So you have a little more free will. This is the point in time when you can actually say, yeah, I'm fully down with it. Because he's, in a sense, blocked off the ability for... Blocked off what's making you say nothing at all. Now, mind you, it's only temporary. This won't last. I'll say at the end of the scene, it goes away, unless he wants to make it permanent.
Yeah, he could sever it, but he's not going to unless she makes it clear she's unhappy.
He hasn't done
That thing is, you
anything.
wouldn't really see it as unhappy. That's what's funny about it.
Well,
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. He hasn't actually done anything all that. He hasn't really had an opportunity to do anything to her anyway. To make her distrust him either.
Yeah.
I think the worst he ever did was tell her to change her clothes abruptly. In a car.
yeah, but the important
That was
part
before the full blood bond.
now she
Yeah.
can think through. She knows what she's engaged in, and she can discuss it clearly.
Yes, that's exactly what he did. Is basically, you know of the blood bond, you know it's fully there, you know that basically your thoughts have been focused more on him. Actually, your work is starting to suffer because your thoughts are always about him. That's the catch to that powerful a blood bond.
The rest of your world goes to shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and your entire life revolves around him. And now you begin to realize that since that blood bond, you haven't been so worried about Lorenzo and what he's doing. Which is probably why the fact that he's no longer pure escaped you.
Oh.
Yeah, you're starting to realize that nobody is more, you're not focused on anybody but Dante. With that connection, I mean, as much as, you want to fight it, you can't. You know, like, subconsciously you have this feeling like, he's your whole world and he's everything.
Oh boy.
But now you're disconnected enough to see it.
Yeah. Now you're starting to get a clearer picture of what exactly has been going on. Every little conversation you had on that book, I still haven't read.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, well, here's the
Glazing
fun
over
part.
that one.
Here's the fun part. He actually told her the truth, too.
Well,
Remember that.
and now
You
she's
remember all of it.
he feels no obligation to him artificially.
Right. And she's kind of pissed, mostly, but she's thinking mostly initially on the fact that he had lied to her initially. Because if she can think about that, yeah, she's pissed that Dante had lied from the up and get-go. Because he didn't tell her anything until Julian made the comment, and she passed along that message from Julian.
Now you start to see maybe he has a bigger plan in mind. I mean, are you sure he told you everything? That's the whole catch.
Right?
I mean, he may have been seeming like he's honest, but if you're fully bound, he could tell you the sky is purple and you believe it. Because he said it. I mean, that's the catch to a blood bond. You basically believe everything they say, no matter what.
Well, we'll see what Julian thinks, I suppose.
Vittorio will lean in and he'll gesture first to the creature behind him and he'll say, "Our children could be gods in this family."
And Marcella just kind of smiles slightly, but she's still kind of reeling over the yeah, she's kind of pissed off. Not at you, not at you.
He'll say, "I don't know why you hesitate now,
No,
but I assure you, whatever it is, I'll do whatever it takes to help us achieve this. And think what position you would hold. A duchess within the family, if not a queen, as a progenitor of a line of my kind. What need have we of petty disciplines, the results of the curse of Cain, this curse that God worked his will on the elders? I do not need to use the gifts that God's will wrought. I work my own will. That's what our children work.
Intelligence kindred lore.
intelligence, kindred lore, me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He's basically, in a sense, saying that what you guys would create would make you above the kindred. You would remember how well that's gone over in a kindred society before.
Well, no, just that they'd have
above
the
everybody else too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Kane also thought he could control everybody and be above everybody else too. Look how
so you want me to roll that, huh?
If you want to, I mean, you could just do intelligence. It really doesn't need to be kindred lore. I mean, this is just pure common sense. What he's talking about.
It wouldn't matter. I only have one.
It's enough to make you realize that it sounds like a good idea, but you could see it going wrong in so many ways. Not only would that basically put you at odds with the rest of the family, that would put you at odds with the entire kindred society as a whole. They would basically see you as a bot. I mean, that would be how the Camarilla would see you straight up.
And I also have, I obviously have other knowledges beside kindred lore that...
Yeah, I mean, but just basic intelligence would give you, that's
well,
a very day. I mean, it's a cool idea, it's a great idea, but if done wrongly, or if something goes wrong, just in the mere fraction, no matter how good everybody thinks there's always something that fucks up. Something goes wrong.
But
You guys will have nowhere on the world to hide.
he's being quite clear that they would be the perfect revenants and that they wouldn't be bound by the limitation of regular revenants.
Yeah, but the rest of the family would not exactly like that so much. They like their revenants the way they are for a very particular reason. Easy to control. You take that control away.
Well,
I mean, it's basically like the whole.
That's probably why he wants that.
I mean,
But
it's
you
basically
also-
No
like,
control there.
like I said, it's just a possibility. I mean, I'm not saying that's his ultimate plan, but that would be one of the things Marcella would think of because she's a twisted bitch. Let's be honest about it. That's what she is.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, that's a very dangerous proposition. It could go well, but it could go bad at the same time. I mean,
Wow, I have
That's one of
people
them, gotta see all
offering
aspects
me
of it.
dangerous propositions all the time.
yeah, apparently.
And
Becoming popular.
he just told you he'll do whatever it takes to free you if that's what you want to.
Right?
So that you
There's-
don't hesitate.
Yeah, there's another problem there. Because once that bond breaks, you know Dante's going to know.
Hmm.
And you know what he's capable of.
I do know what he's capable of. I
That's
really,
basically
really.
starting a war.
And
At least
yeah,
between these two.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't know jack shit about Dante. He assumes he's a member of a clan that's not real welcome in the city typically, so he figures he's got some leverage.
Ugh. Yeah, I know what Dante is capable of, but
Yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen Vittorio in action, then you can't really compare, what they're both capable of. But he was just able to suppress the blood bond.
right.
Not many kindred can say that. Actually, there's only one clan that really has been able to focus that and be able to say they've been able to suppress and break the blood bond.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, so there are benefits to siding with Vittorio. As an ST, I'm just trying to give you some options. As your character, since you have a high enough intelligence, this stuff would all come to you. I mean, whether or not you accept it is completely your thing, but you have to look at all the possibilities. What could this cause? What kind of problems could this cause? You have a son to think about. You have a blood son to think about. You putting him in the middle of all of that.
Exactly, and
I mean, that's the big thing is, if you didn't have a son, it probably wouldn't be that big a deal because then there's, then the only risk is you're just risking yourself.
right,
But you're risking Lorenzo's life. And
right.
now, by guilt by association, you're risking Sasha's life, and so on and so forth. Who knows what kind of effect that could have? I mean, Julian already told you he's basically doing everything he can to allow Sasha to stay here without them seeing, her seeing their true nature. Because she's full mortal and has no idea about kindred.
Yeah, and this is
Once again, almost like there's a guy who's not a vampire in the family who has a place they can stay.
yeah, but
Semi-removed.
Julian won't let that happen.
No, he's very protective of Lorenzo, and honestly, he doesn't have a choice in that. He's got someone higher than him telling him to do that.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
And that's not something he's going to break.
No, it's not exactly something. I'm sure he can't.
He does. Yeah, he knows how dangerous this individual can be if pushed.
Yeah, I can imagine. So that's individual is a very
Ironically, Vittorio and Julian would get along well once Vittorio figured out that Julian ain't exactly on the side of the Giovanni.
Well, Vittorio only kind of is.
Yeah.
He
Well,
plays
that's why I
both
said you two would.
sides.
Yeah, that's why I said you two would work out well because, obviously Julian has to play the side because he's part of the Giovanni, but a lot of his thoughts aren't of the Giovanni thought process. He's already told you he's protecting Lorenzo from being embraced.
yeah.
That's what the whole not being promoted thing was about.
And
That was
Vittorio
what-
said, I don't want him embraced either.
Yeah.
I want to see if I can make him one of mine.
Mage would be cool.
Well, Vittorio knows the one way to get some freedom from the family.
Yeah,
Be good enough and useful enough that they leave you alone.
very much. But I mean, that's why I think it would be ironic. Those two would get along perfectly. They could make some really wicked plans. Especially with some skills that Julian has he hasn't shown yet. That'd be fun. So next man, I don't know, Marcus. I haven't thought of it. My brain is not but yeah, so if you guys can go on, I just wanted to give you some ideas.
Stella's just like,
He'll look at her because she's obviously still struggling, and he'll say, "You forget that the benefits of being one of my kind. For I can bridge the gap between life and death itself." And with that, like some of the, you can see the bones and stuff flex, and his face restructures, and his form changes. Extra bones kind of surface out of his flesh and form an armor around him. Michelle, you would of course know that those are bones that normal people don't have.
right? Yeah. Have a little something extra.
He smiles and he says, "As I said, the living and the dead are my playthings."
They are indeed.
I'm reading group chat. Continue.
Yeah, it sounds like you're laughing at us when you just miscellaneously.
I do have
Miriam does need to get in touch with Holly's Geos. Don't kill her yet.
I have a expanded upon my last project as well. Perhaps you would prefer to begin assisting me with that one and decide from there.
Sure.
The bigger question is this damn bureaucratic priest meddling, and how you truly feel about him. And don't lie and tell me you care about him. I've been in your head.
Dante and I definitely have some things that we have in common. Some things that we like, but
I have no doubt those priests weren't your style. At least not entirely.
she's like, he really isn't that terrible.
I'm not saying he is. The question is he interfering enough where it's an issue?
No.
No?
No.
And what happens when it becomes an issue? What happens when Julian's spending more time with your son than you are?
He is blatantly even said that he does not want. He does not want to take time from Lorenzo.
No? When's the last time you spent time with him?
I was with him last night. Lorenzo and I went out for a ride and we talked, and we did the same in the process of moving here the night before.
And is that what you struggled to get him here for? A couple of car rides and chats?
No.
Well, it's your decision. You know where to find me. And I promise you this is something that we will repeat when we have some of our chats, because I need you clear-headed, Marcella. I need you to focus so that my work can be achieved too. And your son will need you clear-headed sometimes as well. In the meantime, I think, since Julian has accepted, it'd be beneficial that your son spend some time studying with me as well. I think perhaps there's another calling for him.
I agree.
And perhaps at some point in the future he will be able to have a more clear conversation with you as well. But in the meantime, I'm sure you remember the soap factory we visited.
I do.
Well, I've discovered between the rituals they were attempting to use and my own works that I do not need to find a node, as I can create my own at the cemetery, but I require some assistance.
Okay.
And it's a ritual of sorts that I would need you to enact with me.
What exactly does this ritual entail?
He'll give a fairly dark chuckle at that, and he grabs you by the back of the neck and presses his lips to yours, tongue in mouth and everything, and he chuckles and he says, "What kind of ritual do you think Giovanni would engage in?"
I got it. Understood. Fine.
He says, the hound is yours to name as you choose, or to pass on if you would prefer Julian or your son to have it. I would gather your son would perhaps need a little more honing of his mental fortitude before he could command such a creature.
Correct. He seemed a little frightened of it anyways.
He'll give you a fairly fine silver chain bracelet, and that's when you notice it matches some chain links that are embedded in that thing's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he says this will give you significant control over it. Similar to the effects, as best I can tell, of domination and animalism. Perhaps even a touch of your blood bond, especially with you.
Yes. So you said it was 3 blood points it needed, hey? On an out of character note.
Yeah. But if you'd prefer, you can feed him during the ritual as well.
Either way, he's going to get fed.
Well, your prerogative. I just don't know how large your appetite is at the moment. And I understand that excessive hunger can be trying for those of your kind.
Well, she definitely hasn't herself eaten anything, so
He'll recede back into his normal form. He'll ask if Zeta's been assisting in that endeavor at least.
yes, I just haven't had an opportunity tonight.
Well, then perhaps it's better to wait until the ritual. Or later. But I have some sustenance at the office.
Very well.
They just bring in these bodies and they're just bags of blood, but
Blood is blood.
yeah, drain it quick enough, a little bit of formaldehyde, throw them in a box. I don't need blood to make the fingers twitch and the feet walk. So he'll gesture to the car and the creature will climb in the back of it. It's a tight fit for it, but it folds its way in there. Then he'll, of course, he'll open the door for you and
She'll get in.
he'll go around to the driver's seat and pull out, head back to the cemetery. On the way, he does tell you that he can extend that the effects he's placed on you, but he can't do it indefinitely. If you want it permanent, he has to actually break the hold that the cardinal has over you. So that's your prerogative. He won't do it without your request, but he will suspend it temporarily while you speak, while you guys are together.
Okay.
So, obviously, assuming that at any time while it's suspended, you can ask for it, and
Right.
he'll grant it to you.
Right.
So,
Okay.
he pulls right up to the church, gets out and opens your door. Through the garage. So
Through the garage. Okay. Cool.
he leads you to the basement, but you do notice that he has all the door closed and stuff out, or the curtain closed out to the main floor.
Mhm.
He says, "Yeah, I gathered from your our last meeting that perhaps you're not a big fan of the holy symbols."
No, they don't make me feel that fabulous. Truth be told.
He leads you into the basement, and you can tell it's actually the priest's inner sanctum. But he, with a gesture, he shrouds the crosses in complete darkness. So they're actually completely not visible to you.
Oh, okay.
Because you're in the inner sanctum of the wherever the presiding priest or cardinal would come for their prayers and meditations and stuff before the ceremony, but he is deliberately making it that you are not in contact with the holy symbols.
Excellent.
So he's actually got a number of skeletons propped around the walls. Seems to be kind of mocking where the altar boys would sit and stuff. But they're adult skeletons, don't panic.
Don't panic. Thank you for that.
That was an out of character clarification before we had to have that.
Right.
It's like just then Marcella freaks out as she sees the skeleton of little boys, and she goes and on the murdering spree and kills you.
No, she made it pretty clear how she feels about kids.
Yeah.
Not harming kids.
Well,
If you're talking about how she feels about kids, that's all Matthias.
Different. Different feelings.
Yes. She's into protection, he's into not so much.
He wants to eat them.
He'll gesture to the altar itself, and you can see that there's symbols painted on the floor around it.
If I look at them, would I be able to tell what they are?
They're not holy symbols. He's got magical symbols.
Okay.
Some of them seem related to what you saw the other night. Some of them are different. So I don't know if you know Latin or.
No, she just speaks English and Italian. That's all.
Yeah, this is like the Old Latin and Old Hebrew, like Old Testament Hebrew, and then Enochian. mingled in. He
No.
doesn't. He's not fluent in Enochian, but he knows bits and pieces. So
Okay.
he's being pretty clear about what the intent on the altar is.
Huh?
Apparently
My-
not clear enough.
No, my headphones just went, so I didn't
Oh.
hear what you said.
He gestures and he's being fairly clear about what his intent is on the altar. Right. And he starts taking off his cufflinks and stuff.
Okay.
So
Yep. Yep, Marcella.
yeah, he'll and he gets pretty much undressed and leads you over to the end of the altar.
Yep.
And assuming you are not undressed, he will assist. Depending how much
Yeah,
initiative you've taken yourself.
Well, she's getting the,
Catching the hint now?
yeah. Yep, she's taking the hint.
He'll push you down the altar and climb on top of you.
She's gonna roll with it.
So he's
rolling.
he's at least trying to be a gentleman about it.
Right.
You're kind of here for one reason, but he's not going out of his way to force you or anything. He's trying to be
Yep.
maybe not romantic, but at least polite.
Yeah.
And then he as he touches your face, he's actually able well, let's see if it works. Should. Oh yeah. You are actually flooded with his emotions as well.
Oh.
So it's, as best you can tell, this is probably what basically you're experiencing the pleasure from his side of things too.
Yep.
So for Marcella, it's pretty much pure ecstasy, I would imagine. And he will, as you're gathering, he's nearing the end. He leans in, and kind of tilts his head to the side, grabs you by the back of the neck, and pushes your mouth against his neck.
Oh.
And he tells you to do it.
Okay, she'll sink her fangs in. You know they do 2 egg, right?
Well, he's a life mage, and
Yep.
you're kind of giving him everything he needs to work with.
Yep.
And actually, you briefly feel the pain that he feels, but then you feel actually more intense pleasure
Oh.
from him. And
Oh, he likes it hurting. He likes the pain, huh?
well, you also hear basically, like from beneath the altar, you hear voices and screams as he finishes himself
Okay.
within you and climbs off of you.
Creepy. Creepy screams. Out of character note.
His mind separates from yours, and he helps you up. And the edges of the altar are like the cloth on it is actually rippling. And
Breeze.
he like a wind underneath it. And when he kind of peels back that shroud, you can see what look, and you can see kind of ghostly hands reaching out of it.
Oh. Alright.
He as he
Uh,
he actually starts to dress you, and he'll
she's So she can.
He'll kiss you on the neck and tell in your ear. He tells you the Well of Souls. If you ever need spiritual servitors, you can find them here.
Huh. Right. It's late. Thank you. Good to know. Uh,
And then your pet clambers down the stairs.
my pet.
Oh, and you can I don't know how much blood you need, but you can assume that you drank until you were full.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he you could actually tell he was generating more life blood within himself as you were feeding.
Mhm.
So you can assume you're at full blood.
Awesome. Full blood. Okay, so.
And now for some awkward silence.
Well,
Well,
no.
I assume you feed your
she's-
creature,
Yes. Yes.
and then he asks if you would like a ride back or if you want to stay at the mansion with him tonight. Or
I should probably. Uh. Lorenzo's probably busy anyway. Well, I should go back. We're already over here.
he says, "Well, I can take you to my mansion near just off the edge of the cemetery if you'd like someplace a little more private. I imagine Julian doesn't give you much unwatched time at the house."
No, not particularly. Well, he does, but
Well, you and I both know he does and he doesn't.
yeah, he
He doesn't have
does.
cords breathing down your neck, no.
Yeah. He doesn't have people up my ass all the time, but
Like the goon squad that was.
there are people, I'm sure.
The particular turn of phrase will cause him to raise an eyebrow and smirk at you.
Yeah, I'll go back with you.
Sorry, he's going to lead you to his place, assuming that's what you meant.
Yep.
So it's pretty fucking huge. It's like a big 6-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, a lot of marble and stone, done in like a Renaissance style. But he leads you to what is basically an underground ballroom, and you
All
can
right.
see there's tables, basically like autopsy tables, but he's got different creations in various stages.
Right.
But in the center is basically almost like a sarcophagus, but it's huge. You know, it's large
Right.
enough for 3-4 people. And he gestures and he says, "Should you choose to spend the day as well, your accommodations are prepared. But for the rest of the evening, feel free to wander the house. I'm certainly going to be here if you just want to chat. But you're welcome to wander the house, see if there's anything of use to you. I don't know particularly which paths you're skilled in."
She's got sepulture and the bone path.
So there's probably lots of things she can use here now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fucking well of souls in the church.
Right. Oh.
But there's lots of bodies here that are in a state of
disarray.
Well, you can tell he's piecing them together.
Pieces.
He's making other creations, basically Dr. Frankenstein style. Only he doesn't want to truly bring them to life, just to a state of unlife.
Ah! My headphones just fell off my head. State of what? You said life and unlife? What? That
He
was
doesn't.
that was
he
the
doesn't-
last bit I caught because of my headphones.
He doesn't want to actually bring them to life. He wants to bring them to just a state of like unlife, basically.
Okay.
Because he's to him they're more useful as undead servants than as actual awakened or living beings, I should say. So.
Okay.
And then whenever you want, he'll give you a ride home.
Okay. Yeah, I
If
mean,
you want to spend the rest of the night here, that's up to you. If you decide you need a ride home, he'll give you a ride.
she is
Yes,
going to
no-
want to stay relatively close to her kid.
Right.
So. She
Well, he'll
will
be
wanna
coming
go
during
home
the
at
day.
end. Yeah.
That's the irony, is he's coming here during the day.
Yeah, that's, I suppose, I guess it, doesn't really matter. I mean, all of her stuff is at Julian's, so if she decides that she wants to do something, her car is there, etc., etc.
Right.
So,
Well, and he just tells you basically have free rent of the house and everything in it. And when
Yeah.
you're ready to go home, he'll bring you home. If you want to bring your things here and stay here for a longer period, you're welcome to.
okay.
So,
Yeah. She will eventually, like I said, want to go back to Julian's. But she'll hang out for a little bit.
all right.
If you,
He is going to give you
yeah.
a book on some kindred stuff that he's got. It doesn't really aid him, but it might be of interest to you. I just have to find my actual notes.
Right. Okay, so she's got this book on kindred stuff.
Yeah. It's a path of enlightenment.
Oh. Path of Enlightenment, huh?
I just have to find it where it is. There it is. It's actually a book. It's actually a magical tome on the path of Cathari.
Path of what?
Cathari?
Spell that.
Cathari. And he says he thinks you'll find it enlightening.
Okay. Should check that out. I as a player don't know.
It's in the V20 for you.
Yep.
Basically, they're hedonists.
Oh.
They're all about. So the worst two sins are exercising restraint and showing trust.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so this book is about this. Sweet.
And he says, I understand that many of the family follow different paths, and trying to remain human is understandably difficult in our line of work. So I thought this might be interesting to you. I'm not familiar or well versed whether this is a common one or not, but
Holly, I'm posting
I
the
don't know.
link for the website that lists that particular path. Chat.
like I
Okay.
said, it's in the core rulebook.
Yeah, but I figure it's just a quicker, so that we should have a better idea.
Right.
So it is on the subnet page.
Okay.
So, and then at whatever time you want, he'll drive you home. And I assume in the morning he's going to he'll make arrangements when he does so to pick up your son in the morning. That he's got many, many things he can teach your son.
Right.
So,
And with an eidetic memory, that won't take long.
yeah, but you have to remember, Vittorio is actually over 100 years old.
He'll catch up to you.
Right.
Revenants don't age.
He'll
Yeah.
catch up to you in no time. Eidetic memory is great. I don't know why more people don't take it. Helps with a lot of things, especially like when people forget to bring maps. It's always the fun one. Anybody bring a map? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, sure. I've got one in my frontal cortex.
He's
Pretty
got
much how it
maps
works.
everywhere.
So, all right, he brings you home, and at that point, he'll release the mental enchantments so that and he'll try and do it gradually so that the blood bond slowly re-engages. Obviously, you'll still remember how you felt while it was suspended, but
Right.
he's going to try and ease you back into it. He's not looking. If he wanted to destroy your psyche, there's other ways to do it.
Right.
Rather than snap you with the backlash of a full blood bond.
Whoopsh.
I just have to roll a willpower to see if she can stand it.
And he has your hound stay at the house with you. So
Yep.
you can command it to basically go invisible.
Yeah. That would have to happen.
But you have the bracelet, so it's bloodbound to you and functions as if you have animalism and dominate on it.
Okay.
So
Send that to me so I know that, please.
Yeah, it's a
Writing.
true servitor.
Yeah,
So
even the ST is going to forget that. So
Yeah.
I'll put it together. My other PC isn't cooperating right now,
as long
so
as it's on a first sheet, I
Right.
don't care. Check that whenever. I'm not worried about it.
yeah, I guess I could post these as notes in the forum too.
Not to. Since
All right.
we have unlimited access, so you can add to her sheet.
Right.
Right.
I didn't have anything else. Did Marcella have anything else to take care of? Oh, he'll ask Julian if Julian needs any rites performed in the near future. If not, he'll give him his cell number.
Yeah, not that he can think of, but he'll definitely keep you in mind because he has a feeling there are going to be some rites he's going to want to have performed.
No, she's doing her. I mean, really, all she'd have to worry about is her work-related stuff at this point, because I'm sure the kid is busy.
Hey, while you were doing your thing, he was doing his thing. He's just not spending time with her. But
Right.
once that blood bond comes back, he's not really a priority anymore. Nor is your work, but that's a catch to it.
I'm not there.
Yeah.
I can't really. Dante's not around anyway, so he's not going to be around until
Yeah, he said at least
that meeting.
The 29th. He said at least the 29th he won't be able to see.
Oh, only till the 29th of this month.
Yeah, he said as of the 29th he should have the night to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And we'll just have to do a lot more blue booking. No more novels,
Yep.
please.
No more novels.
Nothing enough.
I'm sure he'd just be ecstatic after today anyway.
Well, if you guys are good, I'll wrap up the broadcast then. So.
Yep.
All right, this has been another Minneapolis by Night. This was another crossover session with the Giovanni. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. It sounds like we'll have a lot more action soon.